I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 14th, brought to you in part by a new sponsor, Green Acres Fence Line Feeders. Stop opening gates to feed your cattle. With the unique design of Green Acres, you can keep the cattle in where they're supposed to be and still give them easy access to the feed. You can stop wasting feed. Green Acres fence line feeders sit up off the ground where you don't worry about wasting so much feed, guys. If you're interested, I tell you what, it's kind of a good way to close the gap there, feed your cattle without having to get in there with them. Mention Corbitt Wall or the feeder flash there when you buy, and you can get a free flag whip there with your purchase. For more information, go to GAFeeders.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market in north central Missouri and Creston Livestock Market in south central Iowa. Unionville had a special calf and yearling sale this past Tuesday. It was really good. The Rockin' R's had some cattle in there. They sold a load of steers weighed 831 pounds at $359. That's a top quote for this past week, guys, and it was featured here on the feeder flash. They've got another special calf and yearling sale coming up this coming Tuesday, November the 18th, guys. Be at 10:30 in the morning. Be sure and check that out, either whether you're wanting to buy or sell. Now, Creston Livestock Market up in Creston, Iowa, their special calf and yearling sale is coming up here this Wednesday, November the 19th at 11 o'clock a.m. They've got an outstanding lineup for you. Justin Peterson's got 450 head of black yearling heifers there. Be top quality, weighing 8.5 to 900 pounds. They've got several large calf consignments they're going to be selling, many that are around 100 head of calves. They'll have them sorted up there. And then they've got numerous smaller calf consignments, all home raised, and a lot of them weaned. So if you're looking for something like that, keep that in mind. Creston Livestock Market there this coming Wednesday. Both of those sales will be on DVAuction.com to bid and buy right there. Tampico mixer, and that's the only time I'd heard of Tampico. Is whenever you get some of those Mexican mixers there, yeah, they call one brand of them Tampico, but we didn't like hearing about the one that showed up on Thursday. We'd been rocking along here pretty good all week. I mean, nothing great, but kind of gaining some ground in your feeder market. The board was one way and then the other, but nothing wild and nothing extreme and no limits or anything. Been kind of tougher on your fed cattle market this past week because they bought a lot of cattle. Your packers bought a lot of the negotiated cattle the previous week, and so they had cattle around them, so we knew they weren't going to be very aggressive, but we hadn't had anything throw us out of bed. And in fact, the title of my last feeder flash for Thursday was "Don't Rock the Boat." And then we got into Thursday and everything was going pretty good and hearing some good sales going on. The fed cattle negotiated trade was starting out. It wasn't real whippy there, but we kind of was expecting that. And then all of a sudden the bottom just dropped out. And of course, every time I do, you know, and everybody else too, their phone starts blowing up. What's going on? What'd you hear? What's this and that? Well, you could just assume. I was doing an interview with a newspaper writer there when that all happened. But then as soon as I saw all these people calling me, seeing the heck what was going on, I figured, well, the government must have made another announcement or another statement or something that had to do with the government. Sure enough, start looking around. USDA announced the opening of a sterile fly dispersal facility there in Tampico, Mexico. It should not have been big news, but you know, we've been talking about the screw worms and how they were going to try to control the spread of the screw worms, and we've got a facility that we're transforming from something else, from a military type facility into a sterile fly dispersion point there in South Texas, and we're working on ours. And then they've got one way down there in Mexico. They're working on it. We heard they were working on it here a couple weeks ago, and it's about 30% done. But then all of a sudden this one in Tampico opens up, and I'm hearing that that's a pretty important place, because it's a high humidity type, buggy type place there, where it seems like a lot of them would breed. It's so dry and arid through most of the cattle country of Mexico, the northern part there, that you wouldn't think that they would be too active there. But that facility is going to be opening, so they're getting excited, it appears, to be opening up the Mexican border to cattle imports now. I tell you what, we've had 3 limit down days now due to rumors and talk about this Mexico border opening up to Canada. If they would just open it, it wouldn't be any worse. It couldn't be any worse if they opened the damn border to cattle coming across, because all the fears and everything that's going along with this shallow traded board there, enough's enough. We can't take any more of it. Feeders, pretty much all your months of traded feeder cattle besides the spot month, down the limit or nearabouts there. Fed cattle were down pretty well earlier in the day, and then they went down near limit lows. It is getting so frustrating, the way, and it's kind of the way that everything is now. Any kind of news stories that come out, it's just, what's people's reaction to something that happened. It's nothing about what happened. It's just, how did they react to what happened? How does this person react to what happened? That doesn't seem to me like a big thing to move the board after it was limit down 2 days last week, just because the Secretary of Ag was over there talking. If some woman sends a steak back in Chicago because it was too tough, that's got more fundamental bite to it than all these rumors of maybe the border opening up. And I just told you on our last visit, over the last 20 years, the live cattle that we've been getting from Mexico and Canada combined have only been making up about 6% of the cattle slaughtered in the United States each year. 6%. And then just a whisper about maybe they're going to open that Mexican border, or just bang, just everything just collapses. Enough's enough. Yeah, we know they're going to open it up at some point. You people that don't think it's going to open up at some point, it's going to open up some point. And it's going to be when it gets a little bit colder, because those screw worms aren't as active then. I would say sometime around the first of the year. I've been saying that for weeks, and it is going to open up, guys. But it's just frustrating to see something like that happen whenever we're struggling right through here, and we're at the time of the year in the fall run, and we're well into the fall run. And a lot of these big ranchers, guys, they get one check a year, and we have such a whipsaw reaction to something that's going on that really doesn't make any difference yet, because it hasn't happened. That it's taken maybe $100 or $200 a head off of these calves that they're selling. Makes a lot of difference. It adds up, sure enough does. But it's really unfortunate that we've been having to deal with that all through this, in the year where they were going to make really good money. They're still making money, but they were really going to make some impressive profits there, and a portion of that has been taken away. Let's talk about your a couple of sales that I want to tell you about that you may want to pay attention to coming up here before long. Payne County Stockyards in Perkins, Oklahoma. That's a DVAuction broadcasted barn. They're having a special this Saturday. They're going to have 11 o'clock, they're going to have a sale of some older pairs, about 250 head of older pairs that were bought there at Payne County Stockyards previously as older bred cows. A guy turned them out there, let them calve, going to bring them back in. They're going to split most of them, and those calves will be weighing from 200 to 500 pounds, little peewee calves. But then they're going to be selling those cows. A lot of them will be slaughter cows. Some of them will be some cows that you could add value to, putting them on some kind of feed. If you had some cheap silage or something like that, that would be a good thing. You got to find opportunities when cattle are this high to maybe make some money, guys. But they're going to be splitting most of those pairs there and selling them off separately, so you want to be there for that. Then they got a special weaned calf sale there, kind of a value-added sale. They're going to be selling a load of lightweight yearling steers, 600 pounders there, which would be great. I mean, you can turn them back out on wheat. They've been weaned their whole life. They were bought as little peewees, so you know, they're not going to get sick on you like a lot of these calves and unweaned calves that got more size than that to them would get sick on you. But it'd be something really good that you can turn out, or you could put them on feed if you want to do that. They've got quite a condition to them. And then they're going to be selling 400 head of you know, probably 45 to 90 day weaned calves with 2 rounds on them. You know, where do you find those unless it's a special sale like this one is? They'll be weighing 400 to 600 pounds. Quality will be, for the most part, really good. You want to get in on them. And then they've got 600 more head of kind of lightweight yearlings there with 2 rounds on them. They'll be long time weaned, long-tailed light yearlings there, weighing from 450 to 700 pounds. So get on to DVAuction if you can't make it to Payne County Stockyards in Perkins. If you're not busy on Saturday and you can get over there to that sale. But if you can't quite make it, be sure and be watching on DVAuction and get registered where you can bid if you want to on those impressive consignments. Now, coming up next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 22nd, Callaway Livestock Center is going to be having their Callaway Fall Elite video auction. I told you about it here a couple visits ago. Going to be 7 o'clock in the evening. They're going to be having a free meal and social there from 6 to 7. And then right there at 7 at Callaway Livestock Center, they are going to be selling some very impressive replacements on video right there at the ring there. But you can view and bid on DVAuction, guys. They've got some fancy replacement bulls, Angus, and then they've got numerous consignments of very impressive bred heifers, young bred cows, and young cow-calf pairs from across Missouri, Iowa, and Kansas with really impressive genetics, guys. Be thinking about that sale. There'll be a lot of them. You can put a lot of them together there in a short time. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. December live cattle futures down 627 at 219. February down 602 at 218.95. Your back months were down 547 to 590. November feeder cattle down 202 at 337. They've got to meet up here with that index level, so they can't just pull the rug completely out from them, but the rest of them they can. January feeder cattle contracts down 902 at 318.45 because somebody whispered that one of those facilities where they're going to turn out the sterile flies is going to be opening up in another country. Your back months, most all your back months of feeder cattle were locked down the 9 1/4 limit, except for your furthest out, which is November 2026. It was down 772. If they just keep talking about opening this border and never open it, I don't know how far can they suck these futures down. It is absolutely ridiculous here. Still, fundamentals absolutely bullish, and we will be getting a cattle on feed report next Friday, so we can maybe get back to some fundamentals, guys. Your grains, look at December corn up 6 1/4 cents a bushel at 441 1/2. Beans up 13 1/4 cents a bushel at 1147. Hard red winter wheat for December up 1/4 cent a bushel at 525 3/4. Your fat cattle trade, they had already started trading lower before this press release or announcement come out, and then they continued to, and there was a lot more trade than what's here, but what I'm going to give you is confirmed, and the break off on that is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But Iowa sold 5,350 head on Thursday, 10,300 for the week. Live prices in Iowa, fat steers and heifers were $222 to $225. That was $3 lower than last week. Dress sales $347 to $354, $6 to $8 lower. Nebraska sold 11,100 head confirmed on Thursday, 14,700 head for the week. The live price $222 to $225 and dressed $350 to $355. Kansas sold 3,900. That's all they'd sold for the week, was what they had on Thursday confirmed. And the market $225 to most all $228, and that would be $2 to $4 lower. Texas sold 1,400, $22.50 for the week, and at $228. Fed cattle auction, Kelowna Sales Barn in Kelowna, Iowa, had 850 head of slaughter cattle for their auction there, and the market was $5.50 to $6 lower. Conventional fed cattle sell from $223 to $229, so Packers are playing hardball. I think maybe we should figure out a way to play hardball and not sell them any cattle. Just figure out who has some really big cattle that they need to get rid of, and they're the only ones that can sell any cattle on a negotiated basis. Bring them to their milk, guys. Box beef cutout values lower again. Choice was sharply lower, if you remember, on Wednesday, and then a little bit lower yet on Thursday, down 88 cents at $373.57. Selects were sharply lower on Thursday, down $4.91 at $355.03. Slaughter so far for the week up through Thursday, estimated cattle slaughter 471,000. That is about 15,000 more than last week at this point. So you know, their crimp on them is not quite as bad as what it has been. So they're wanting to step up the kill a little bit because their freezers are not full. They need product, guys, and starting to get to crunch time here with this holiday demand. But still, it was 13,000 less than this point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services. Of course, that's Dakota Moss, and he offices there in the exchange building at the Oklahoma National Stockyards. Tell you what, him and his team, there are your LRP specialists, and you guys are kicking yourself because you didn't take an LRP out 3 or 4 weeks ago. You know, but everybody would have if they could. But you're still watching this market, and you know it loses another $20, and you think, well, I'm going to take a look at it, and then it loses another $20, and then now that's $40 that you lost. And if you don't pull the trigger and make a move and get some protection out there, it's not going to do you any good. So give them a call, talk to them, see what the protection levels are, which you can lock your cattle in to sell in the future there. And you say, well, those premiums are really high. You know, those premiums would be $10 to $20 a hundred. The market goes down or up that much every single day. What's the big deal about that? For more information, go to LivestockRiskServices.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index late in the day on Thursday after your sales have closed, sitting at 342.14. That was up 70. But a lot of the cattle had sold before that announcement come out. That announcement was around noontime, or maybe a little after when that come out. So a lot of the cattle had been sold. You know, that explains why it was up a little bit more. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting very close to your real-time index at 342.42. Got a lot of calf specials here on Friday. If you guys are still looking for fancy ranch calves up in the northern plains, St. On, South Dakota, there is a DV auction broadcaster. They've got 5,000 fancy calves to sell here today on Friday. Harriet Livestock, Harriet, South Dakota, DV auction broadcaster. They've got a special yearling and calf sale. They'll have a lot of cattle there. The quality will be outstanding, and you should get on and check them out. And then Crawford Livestock Market in Crawford, Nebraska is having a special bred cow sale, so you better get on and check it out. You may be interested in bidding on some of those. This weekend on Saturday, a friend of mine, Dr. Brooke Miller from out in Virginia, is going to be having his production sale. He runs a purebred outfit. It's called Ginger Hill, and it's going to be on Saturday, November the 15th. Guys, check it out. Selling 40 fall yearling Angus bulls there and 34 fall calving cows and heifers. Some of them have already calved. It's going to be in Culpeper, Virginia, starting at noon, but it'll be on DVAuction.com too. So check it out. I mean, he's got really nice stock. And then closer to home, Cavender's is having their big production sale on Saturday too, and it's on DVAuction.com, selling their bulls and their commercial females. Let's talk about your big sales that happened on Thursday. Of course, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, Dickinson, North Dakota, had 5,000 head. The market was quite a bit higher. It picked up some steam, and I talked to John Fisher there, my friend, as part of the ownership group there, and he said we had sold a lot of the calves before the sale, before that announcement come out, and then the board was down big. But he said we had such good consignments and good calves, it really didn't hurt it that much. But Federal State Market News called the steer calves under 600 pounds $15 to $30 higher, and the heavier calves steady. Heifer calves are 10 to 20 higher. Stockman's Livestock Exchange was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Equipment. Stick out sale of the day, and you look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. We'll go through your best tested weights and the weighted averages. They had 563 head of 4-weight steer calves. They averaged 461 with a weighted average price of $496.99. There were 1,403 head of the 5-weight steer calves. They averaged 555 at $439.33. 802 head of the 6-weight steers averaged 630 at $398.89. Look at some of the heifers. 620 head of the 4-weight heifer calves averaged 461 at $432.98, and 730 head of the 5-weight heifer calves in Dickinson, North Dakota averaged 544 with a weighted average price of $394.01. Go through some other individual quotes that I thought might be interesting to you. Ogallala Livestock Auction in Ogallala, Nebraska had a big sale on Thursday. It included one lot, which was 219 head, 519 pound steers, bring 492. That's not off the highs, guys. How about Wilcox, Arizona? I like to give them some love out, once in a while. They're off the beaten path, and maybe you see this price and you think, I want to get in on some of those. So you get into DV auction and start watching on Thursdays down at Wilcox and bidding on some of those calves. I tell you what, the calves they bring in there are hard as rocks. I tell you what, if they don't impress you with quality, which they likely will, they will impress you with condition and health. They sold one lot, 101 steer calves, weighed 388 at $445. New Cambria Livestock Auction in New Cambria, Missouri. Philip McBee there, he had a good sale on Thursday. 60 head of steers, or no, these were heifers. They just sold at a steer price. 60 head of heifers weighed 837 in New Cambria, Missouri. Bring 3 1/4, 325. Lamona Livestock Auction in Lamona, Iowa, be just straight north of there pretty much. 55 steers weighed 863 at 345.50. Napoleon Livestock in Napoleon, North Dakota sells 80 steers weighed 749 at 381.75. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas. It was 64 feeder steers weighed 840 at 357.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.